Last week I said Man United would give me high blood pressure, but today they actually nearly put me to sleep. A poor performance, an even worse result, and unfortunately Manchester United could potentially lose Lisandro Martinez for a long time. We'll see what happens with his injury, but it did not look good and he was absolutely distraught getting stretchered off the pitch. Today, Ruben Amorim decided to experiment by playing Kobbie Mainoo as a false nine. The first 10-15 minutes it worked, but after that I do not know what Manchester United were doing. Today, substandard performance across the entire 11. There's nobody that sticks out for me that is even remotely a bright spark. Crystal Palace 2, Manchester United 0. Mateta gets a double against Manchester United and he loves a goal against Manchester United. So of course, as always, man, here's everything that we learned from the game. Make sure you lot hit the like button and be sure to subscribe as well. So we're going to start with Lisandro Martinez because he has been flying in form in the last couple of weeks. Has scored some big goals for Manchester United, if you remember, a week or so ago against Fulham and against Liverpool as well at the beginning of January. And today, he is, listen, he is Manchester United's only natural ball progressor in the back line. He can play a great ball over the top. He can carry the ball forward. He can play the line breaking passes. His absence is going to be fondly missed. And you know what's so funny is he's more suited for our Amorim system, in my opinion, than what I thought he was suited for in Ten Hag's system. In terms of the emphasis and the importance of a player like him, a player that's good on the ball, a player that can drive the ball forward, a player that can put in balls behind, a player that can play line breaking passes, etc., etc. He looked distraught. He really looked distraught, and if he is out for probably the rest of the season and maybe some parts of next season, he is going to be a massive miss to Manchester United. Like I genuinely was so upset when I saw him signal straight away to the bench, but even more so I was upset when I saw him like in tears. It's actually really sad, and you know, those kind of situations, you never want it for any player, let alone a player of importance for your team. But let's move away from that and talk about the actual game. 90 minutes or nearly 100 minutes of football, and Manchester United's biggest problem for me is the attack. You know, we could talk about the wing backs, guys. We can really talk about the wing back situation, and Ruben Amorim, I think, today experimented, and this result is equally on the manager, in my opinion, as it is on the players, because he experimented with Kobbie Mainoo as a false nine. And like I said, the first 15 or so minutes, I feel like it was working for Manchester United. Kobbie Mainoo naturally in the tight spaces is good on the ball. He could, you know, get the 2 10s in Garnacho and Ahmad involved, but even them two ghosting throughout the entire game. I don't think Garnacho won a duel, whether it was an aerial one or a ground one. I think Kobbie lost the most number of duels in the game, but that's equally because Man United at times when they're going long, he's not winning that aerial duel up against Richards, up against Mark Gahey, up against Lacroix. They're not going to win those aerial duels. So I don't know why Manchester United were going long in some situations. And another thing that I didn't understand, especially in like the first half in particular, I don't know why Manchester United were spamming crosses into the box in particular. I don't know if you lot noticed, but Diogo Dalot was making those inverted runs. Nazir Mazraoui in the box quite a few times, multiple times in the first half, with Kobbie Mainoo, Ahmad, Garnacho lingering on the left channels. Bruno putting balls into the box, and United are not winning aerial duels. They're not winning aerial duels. You know, even with tall strikers, they don't win aerial duels. So what was the thought process around trying to battle it out aerially against a Crystal Palace backline that I think their average height must be like 6'2" or 6'3", whereas Manchester United have Kobbie, Ahmad and Garnacho leading the front line, and Nazir Mazraoui trying to get involved in aerial duels, and they're really unsuccessful with it. Another player today that I feel like drowned in the midfield was Ugarte, and the reason why I'm saying that is because multiple times throughout the game, not just in the first half, but throughout the game, I saw Crystal Palace players have the opportunity to pick up the ball in the middle third and just drive the ball forward, because the gap between the midfield and the back line was so big. And it's one thing I notice a lot when Harry Maguire is playing. I actually pointed it out in my last match review, the Europa League game. I pointed out how Man United, when Maguire is not playing, Man United play on a much more naturally high line, whereas Harry Maguire is always a second slower than the other centre-backs, and that actually is, you see it on the second goal as well, which I'm going to show you guys. But I felt like the spaces between the back line particularly in those central roles, it allowed the opponent, I saw Hughes do it, I saw Mateta do it, I saw Mateta drop deep multiple times, picking up the ball in the little circle in the middle of the pitch and being able to just drive forward with the ball, and the back line are backing off of him, so they're going deeper and deeper, and he's just got acres of space to run into. And I saw Hughes do it as well in the first half as well, and I just don't understand why Manchester United allow that. I felt like Ugarte was drowning in the midfield today. He's up against Hughes, he's up against Lerma, he had Sarr. I feel like Kamada was not good, in my opinion. And I liked Kamada when he was at Frankfurt, funnily enough, but I just don't think he's been good since he's left Frankfurt. But all of those midfield players, or the players that had involvement in the middle of the pitch, I felt like Ugarte was just struggling to deal with them. And maybe that's because, you know, Manchester United's main focal point, I feel like, out of possession is to kind of play a back five and have the two midfielders in Bruno and Ugarte sitting in the middle. And Bruno has this free roaming role, if you want to say, in the 6/8, in the 8, I would say it's an 8 position. He's got this free roaming role with less defensive responsibility. And the little aspects of defensive responsibility that I saw him had today, he was just half-hearted with it. He let Eze dribble past him 2 different occasions. And that is, for me, the difference points in today's game. This result is on the players and it's equally on the manager. Because like I said, Ruben Amorim has picked up how many points? How many points have Manchester United picked up in the league since Ruben Amorim's arrival? Let me know if you lot know in the comment. I can't remember if it... I'm pretty sure it's like 14 points since Ruben Amorim's arrival, which is poor. But Manchester United still, it feels like Ruben Amorim hasn't figured out what works for him in the team. And it's been 2 months. And this is not me kind of criticize, it's not me like getting onto him, but it's just, my point is that at this point of your appointment, I'm sure you should know your consistent regular players. And I think it's actually it's a statement to Højlund and Xerxes that today the experiment was to go with Kobbie Mainoo in the 9, because yes, Kobbie Mainoo was playing as a false 9, but if you don't remember that Everton game when we won 4-0 under Ruben Amorim, what was the kind of common factor in that game and in this game? Joshua Zirkzee was playing as a false 9. He had Rashford and Bruno as runners off of him. Today, it seemed like Manchester United tried to do something similar to that, but also playing the 2 wing-backs inverted, which kind of creates a staggered 5 in the front line. And it just didn't work. Look at the average positions of Munoz and Tyreek Mitchell. The 2 wing-backs for Crystal Palace, of course, they're more natural wing-backs, but their average position was that of a wing-back. When they're attacking, they are forward, holding the width. They're good and able to dribble. They can put deliveries into the box. They know, you know, what the right pass is to make. And in defensive transition, they're sitting back with their back 5. And Tyreek Mitchell is funny because we've actually been linked to him on multiple times. But let me just point out the 2 goals. The 2 goals in particular, because both of them, for me, Harry Maguire's caught sleeping. Both of them, Harry Maguire's caught sleeping. The first thing that I noticed from the first goal is that Man United conceded another set piece, you know, a free kick. But equally with saying that, I feel like Man United should know their research, because Crystal Palace, 1/3 of their goals come from dead balls. They come from free kicks and whatnot. They come from dead balls. You can call them a dead ball specialist at this point. But I know people were arguing whether Lenny Yoro was shoved in the back by Lacroix, but you see Mateta as a number 9. Højlund and Xerxes should take notes of what Mateta did to Manchester United today, because it was an all-rounded number 9 performance. He was running the channels, making runs in behind, picking up the ball, holding the ball up, able to dribble, driving the ball forward if necessary, and also making the right runs. He did everything that you want a number 9 to do, and also poaching on the end of a rebound. Quick reactions. Harry Maguire sleeping for the first goal, but the second goal in particular is interesting for me, because obviously Palace are able to win possession in their own third, and within 2 passes they've already progressed it into Man United's final third. And Yoro steps up, and this is one thing I noticed. Yoro steps up and Maguire doesn't follow suit. So as a result, Maguire's keeping everyone onside. He's keeping everyone onside. And that's why I said that both goals for me, Maguire has an influence on it. And if Manchester United are going to play with this high line under Ruben Amorim, is Maguire going to be able to pick up what the other people are doing? Now, I don't know what the future couple of games are going to hold for Man United in terms of the back line, because I don't actually think we've seen a consistent back 5 or back 3, whatever you want to call it, for 3 games in a row. I don't think we've seen that. It's always chopping and changing. And that is one of my concerns. You can't build a relationship. You can't gain any kind of consistency if you are playing with a different backline, or you're playing with different partners every other game, or every game in this particular instance for Manchester United. Now with Lisandro Martinez getting injured, and I really hope it's not a serious injury, but everything is telling me it's a serious injury. What's next? Is that going to be a Lenny Yoro at left-sided centre-back? Are we going to see Mazraoui at left-sided centre-back? Luke Shaw reportedly is going to return back to training. Is he going to be an option? How fit can he stay throughout the rest of the season? I looked at the entire team today. Ahmad, I have to mention, unimpactful for the second half. Him and Garnacho, unimpactful. And this is why I said this front line is a substandard front line. There's nothing that this front line can do that can make me believe that they can get goals on a consistent basis. And that actually leads me to my point on Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, the Manchester United ownership, to let 3 players leave. You let Anthony leave, you let Marcus Rashford leave. 2 attacking players in particular you have let leave. And you have not brought in any resurgence in the January window. That is negligence. That is so negligence. I don't even know if Ruben Amorim was trying to make a statement today by benching both of his striker options, by saying, guys, this is not cutting it for me. I don't know if it was a statement to the board from Ruben Amorim, but it's not cutting it. For Man United to let 2 attacking players leave, it means the only kind of frontline players that we have is Ahmad, Garnacho. We got Bruno, if you want to count him as one of the 10s, but he's been playing more so in that midfield of recent. And then you got Højlund and you got Xerxes. That's it. That is a substandard front line. And you know what? Equally with saying that, Man United's Premier League campaign is done. There's nothing in the Premier League campaign for Manchester United to kind of salvage. But equally with saying that, it's humiliating. Manchester United haven't won back-to-back Premier League games all season. All season, Manchester United have not won back-to-back Premier League games. I think their record at home is equally as bad. If we look at today, and in the first half in particular, what stood out to me was that Manchester United were getting shots on goal, but they're not any threatening shots. They're blocked shots. They're shots from outside of the box. There's nothing threatening. And yeah, sometimes I feel like Dean Henderson turns into prime Buffon whenever he plays Manchester United. But overall, Manchester United dominated possession and only created 1 big chance. Palace on the other side created 4 big chances. 4 big chances. And in the first half in particular, I actually felt like they could have had a goal. They could have gone down. Man United could have gone down in the first half after 45 minutes. I felt like that could have been the case. It's really, I don't know, man, guys. I'm losing words. What do you guys feel like is the biggest issue that Manchester United cannot seem to overcome right now? Because we can sit here and talk about the wing backs. We can do that. We can sit here and talk about the front line. We can sit here and talk about, the inability to be clinical in front of goal. We could talk about all of that. But I also think that we can't shy away, we shouldn't shy away from the conversations of the decisions of the manager when he decides to make these kind of decisions, like experimenting with Kobbie Mainoo in the 9. It worked for the first 10-15 minutes, and guys, it was nothing after that. Let's be honest, it was nothing. Would Højlund have been better up front? I don't know. Would Xerxes have been better up front? I don't know. But how are we still experimenting 2 or so months into it? We're yet to see a consistent team. We're yet to see consistent lineup. We're yet to see consistent shapes. We're yet to see... Today, I felt like it was actually negligent of Man United to leave Ugarte kind of in the middle throughout most of the game. Like I said, sink or swim, and I felt like he was sinking today. But equally with saying that, I felt like everybody across the team did not... There was no standout performer for me. There was really no standout performer for me. And now Manchester United's next run of games in the Premier League, obviously we got the FA Cup against Leicester, and then the week after that we play Spurs, I think, in the league away from home. It is overwhelming. It is really, really overwhelming, and it's like this. It's like the 6 stages of grief, guys, because last week I was talking about high blood pressure. Today I felt like I was going to fall asleep watching the game. Manchester United have 24 hours or just over 24 hours left of the transfer window. Are they going to bring in Tel? I saw links yesterday to Leon Bailey. Are you serious? Are you guys... If Man United sign Leon Bailey on loan, I don't know. To me, they're just a joke. The board, whoever sanctions that move, is a joke, because it's not going to change the problems that Manchester United are facing right now. The only positives I can say from today's game, because you don't know I like to share positives. The only positives I can share is probably Patrick Dogu and Aiden Heaven being announced to the Old Trafford stadium. Yeah, that's it. There's nothing else I can really say. Let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe if you guys are new here.